Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. As usual, I'm your host, Cody, and today we are continuing September's theme of awesome Keanu Reeves movies. So last week, if you haven't listened to it yet, last week we talked about the John Wick trilogy, mostly the first movie, but I did go over a little bit of the other ones and some of the other stuff that's going on with it. Today we're going to talk about the Matrix movies. Next week we'll be talking about Johnny Mnemonic. Week after that, we'll be talking about Speed. And then, of course, the last week of the month, we'll be talking about Bill and Ted, all three of the movies. Hence the reason I'm actually doing this, these movies, or basically Keanu Reeves movies. Also, it turns out that it's also Keanu Reeves' birthday month, so that's interesting. So happy birthday to Keanu Reeves. Born way back in, 1964, September 2nd was his birthday, or is his birthday. Just turned 56 years old and is doing a great job. Anyways, so Keanu Reeves, the Matrix trilogy really has four main stars. In it, you have Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Hugo Weaving, and Joe Pantoliano is in the first movie, and I love that dude, but he's a dick in this movie. So we know who Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Hugo Weaving are. If you don't know, that's weird. But anyhow, so Keanu Reeves, pretty awesome dude. Did not go over much of his movies last week because we're not really talking about his other movies or him. I didn't know why I didn't talk about him, but so Keanu is he's a pretty strange dude in general, but also pretty awesome. Basically, how to put this? His career is pretty extensive. He's done a lot of things. Most recently, he's had a renaissance in his career because he's all over the place with the John Wick franchise, bringing him back to the limelight. And then he was able to he did those three movies, like I talked about last week, and soon to be more of them. He did voice in the newest Toy Story movie, Toy Story 4. But I mean, he's done tons of movies. Obviously, Bill and Ted: Face the Music just came out, and he's in that, which I'll also be talking about. So he's done a lot of stuff. It's Keanu Reeves, man. You know, he's awesome. Lawrence Fishburne's done a lot of things too. He's been in so many amazing movies. It's ridiculous. Probably this movie is definitely these movies are some of his best work for sure, but he's done a lot of big things on the big screen and the small screen. He was in the show Hannibal. He played Jack Crawford. He was on the last 3 or 4 seasons of CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. I actually liked him out a lot. He was kind of a dick. He's in the second Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Searching for Bobby Fischer, Event Horizon, which I was thinking about watching the other day to think about something to talk about, and I may do that because I was thinking about doing some more sci-fi movies, and I thought, well, what if I do like sci-fi horror movies? Because there's a couple of those out there. I won't spoil it just yet, but be fun. Anyhow, so Lawrence Fishburne's done a lot of stuff. He's awesome. But yeah, that's Lawrence Fishburne. Carrie-Anne Moss has done quite a few things as well. Not as many as these other guys. But she's been in a handful of stuff, both TV and movies. Most notably, definitely going to be, she's going to be most well known for The Matrix. She was in Memento, which was fantastic. If you've never seen that movie, eventually I'll talk about Christopher Nolan movies. Maybe when Tenet comes out on home video, I'll talk about those movies. But she's done some pretty outstanding work across her career. Highlights to me the movie Fido, which is one of the most fucked up movies in the world. If you watch it, it's fantastic, but it's super fucked. Disturbia. Let's see. The second Silent Hill movie, Revelations. She was in that one. She was in Pompeii. I forgot about that one. Movie was not so great. She'll be in the upcoming Matrix 4 movie, which I'll talk a little bit about here in a little bit. Chocolat. She was in that. She was in Red Planet. The Crew. I mean, television-wise, she was in 3 episodes of Iron Fist. She was in Defenders. She was in Daredevil. She was in Jessica Jones. Those ones she played Jerry Hogarth, friend to the Defenders for sure. She was on that show Vegas for a while. She was in 4 episodes of Chuck. She's done a lot of stuff. Pretty cool shit. But yeah, I think that's it for Carrie-Anne Moss. Fun fact, though, she was in a TV show called Matrix way back in 1993, which is hilarious that she was in a TV show called Matrix, and then she was in a movie franchise about the Matrix, which is just pretty hilarious. I've never seen it. I know from doing research she was in it. It is about a hitman of some sort. I don't know, because I've never seen it, but it's pretty funny that she was in a television program called Matrix and then in a movie called The Matrix. Hugo Weaving, probably the lesser known of the 4 actors that I mentioned from this franchise. He is amazing. He's been on a lot of really good things. He was in Lord of the Rings movies, also made an appearance in the Hobbit movies. He played V in V for Vendetta, which is another movie I'll be talking about when I talk about the Wachowskis movies outside the Matrix, because there are a bunch of them I want to talk about. I was going to do that eventually, and then I was like, I got to talk about the Matrix. I talk about Keanu Reeves, so might as well do that. So when I do the Wachowski stuff, I'll probably just do the stuff they directed and produced. But well, I don't know. Maybe I'll get there someday. I don't know. But he was also the voice of Megatron in the Transformers movies. Also did the voice of Galvatron in the. I believe they credited him as Galvatron also in the last of the Matrix of the Transformers movies. Actually, you know what? He might not have done the last one, did he? Galvatron was voiced by somebody else in that one. Who did that one? Let's find out real quick, shall we? What was the one where they called Age of Extinction? Age of Extinction. That one they had Galvatron, right? They're all the last handful of those movies were real bad. I want to say he wasn't in. Yeah, it's Frank Welker. Frank Welker did the voice of Galvatron, which was the modified version of Megatron. That, if you remember, the best Transformers movie ever made was Transformers the movie, the animated movie, and in that, Megatron was mortally wounded, and he was transformed into a new character called Galvatron by what's his name, Unicron, and he became even more evil. So they took that premise and they basically transformed him into Galvatron, and it was real bad. Anyhow, I digress from that. Back to Hugo Weaving. He's been in Well, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. He was in, like I said, V for Vendetta. He was in Captain America, First Avenger. He played Red Skull. He was in The Wolfman, Legends of the Guardians, Owls of Gaul. He did the voice of Noctis and Grimble. Let's see. He narrated he was the Noah in Happy Feet. What the hell Little Fish is? What the hell's Little Fish? Oh, I don't know that movie. Like I said, Lord of the Rings movies. He played Elrond. He was in Cloud Atlas, which not a good movie. Hacksaw Ridge, Mortal Engines, which I was really excited about, and that movie was trash. They really rushed that one. Visually stunning movie, not so great. Really hard to understand that movie. Yeah, I think that's about it. Television wise, he's done a handful of stuff, nothing real long stint. But yeah, that's Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving's amazing in his own right, and a good dude from what I've heard from a few people, I guess. Anyhow, so the Wachowskis, who created, wrote, directed the Matrix trilogy, as well as wrote the Animatrix ones, but then they wrote V for Vendetta, they wrote Speed Racer, Interactive Speed Racer, they produced The Ninja Assassin, which is a fantastic movie, and then the last couple things they've done, not great. Cloud Atlas, just muddled as shit, and not entertaining whatsoever, unfortunately. And then, of course, the shit-tastic Jupiter's Ascending, which was... Man, that movie is awful. I've watched it twice all the way through, and I don't understand why. Because it is real bad. Real bad. But yeah, the Wachowskis are pretty damn good filmmakers in their own rights. I like it because they create what they want to create. I don't know if Cloud Atlas and Jupiter Ascending were totally their fault, but I know the show Sense8 was really good on Netflix, so that's pretty cool. They did that. They created that with J. Michael Straczynski, who's done a lot of good things out there too, comic books as well as television programs. But yeah, that's the Wachowskis, creators of The Matrix. So The Matrix, if the folks who don't know, it's fucking shocking to me, but it is. Oh, the first movie is over 20 years old now. Came out in March 31st of 1999. Budget of $63 million. Box office of $465.3 million. That'll pay for sequels, and which it did. It paid for its following sequels, as well as subsidiaries like the Animatrix movie or animated shorts. Anthology, I don't know what to fucking call it. Anyhow, so I'm not going to break down the movie for you. I'm just going to talk about the what I liked about it. I rewatched it tonight, right before I recorded this. Not that I needed a refresher on it, because I have seen this movie so many times, it's kind of weird, and I was talking with the guys about it, is I legit don't remember what exactly I felt after watching it in the theaters, because I've seen it so many times since then, but I know I saw it in the theaters a few times, and I just remember, I know I was blown away by it, because like everyone was, but for the most part, I don't remember being like, I don't remember. This is way back, and I mean, I was in high school back then. I don't remember, other than maybe with my brother talking about it like I do now with people, because I was a nerd and didn't have a whole lot of friends that watched movies as much as my brother and I did. especially the movies that my brother and I watched. But rewatching it tonight, I remember the feeling I had of the ridiculousness that does happen in this movie, which I love so much, and I will always love about it for that reason. But there's a few things rewatching it now, and it's been a few years since I rewatched it, and I'm going to rewatch the other two as well. I should have done it before, but I really wanted to watch the first one because I remember liking that one the most of all of them. But the thing that really got me is like all of the things, and this is the dumbest thing to say about it, but all the things that they did in this movie that everyone else copied and essentially bit off of and stole afterwards. But like the bullet time stuff and the rotating cameras, nobody has done it as good as they have since then and ever will, because their stuff with the bullet time and the 360 camera pans, the slow motion stuff, it was all practical. It was the actor on film, digitally on film, you should say. But it was really them doing the motions. So they had Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss in harnesses doing these motions in front of these cameras for them to superimpose on backgrounds and whatever they need to put them in. So you could get the realism of the actor moving, and it just made it that much better. And will always be better than most everything that came after it, because that was the age of mass CG, and this following sequels actually fell into that quite a bit because they got a lot more money, so they could sink more money into CG, and it just wasn't as good as the practical stuffs with when they did the bullet time stuff and those special slow motion camera 360 pans and transitions that really helped you move into the space of, this is not a real world we're in, this is the Matrix, and we are now functionally being able to be part of the manipulation of it, which really added to it. It was pretty cool. Anyhow, a lot of cool technology, the visual effect as known as bullet time, but also that slow motion panning around movement they did, which was, I guess you consider that bullet time, but bullet time to me has always been the ripples of in the air of the bullets traveling, and the visualization of the bullet traveling from the gun to its intended target, or towards its intended target. But yeah, that's basically that. Sorry, the story of the first one is pretty basic. I'm not going to say basic. It's pretty solid. It's when you get into the second and third one where you start getting some real weird shit going on. And I don't know what the fourth one is going to be about or how it's going to fit in. I just know that it's got a shit ton of people in it. I mean, Carrie-Anne Moss is back. Keanu Reeves is back. Jada Pinkett Smith is in it. Lambert Wilson is in it. Neil Patrick Harris is in it. Jessica Henwick is in it. Jonathan Groff. Has a lot of just a lot of people in it, and I don't know where the movie is going. But I know they've showed off. Well, I don't know if they showed it off, but someone leaked some footage of them filming some bike stunts with Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves. But yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Like I said, the other movies, the second movie and the third movie, really started to run off the rails and be pretty crazy. But they're entertaining. There's some pretty cool special effects in, especially the second one with those the I can't remember what their characters' name were, but they're like the twins, the weird albino twins. They have like that phasing capability or whatever. But anyways, yeah, it started to be real fucking strange there and the whole thing. I don't know. But I'll rewatch them probably in the next couple days or so. But I really wanted to rewatch the first one and have it fresh in my mind, because it has been a while since I watched it. I mean, a couple years now, and I really do love this first movie. It's just really cool and wildly artistic in the best way possible, without being like an art film type thing. But it really shows the Wachowskis trying to make sci-fi art in a movie, and it really showed off, and obviously made a ton of money, helped them make sequels, even 20-something years later, making the fourth one, which who knows, maybe good, maybe bad, I don't fucking know. But yeah, looking forward to it, and I want to check it out. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. As usual, I have been your host, Cody. We are talking about awesome Keanu Reeves movies. Today we're talking about The Matrix. The Matrix franchise, mostly about The Matrix. But that's it for this week's episode. As usual, at the end of this, I always like to say, let's be awesome.